Hello, my name is Ricardo. Um, Before I start, I have a couple things to say. The life of my stepfather was difficult to say the least. I don't believe anybody else could endure his trauma without the strong mindset and motivation he kept by his side every step of the way. Now, I'm going to give you one instruction and one question. First, to fully understand the emotional depth of Rene's life, you must walk a mile in his shoes. Ask yourself how much you are willing to sacrifice for your beliefs. Please pay attention and attempt to picture yourself experiencing his experiences, feeling his feelings, and owning his thoughts. I'm giving you one question and one question only. Do you really think you've experienced suffering? Imagine growing up, being raised by a father whose fundamental moral beliefs totally conflict with yours. A father who, like my stepfather said, values material things more than humanity and people and feelings. None of that mattered as much as material things. Love would consist of giving your child a present for Christmas. Love would consist of giving your child a job opportunity. Love would consist of money, something that's only physical, something that you're not feeling, something that does not interact with your being. And while obviously money does have value, this value is nothing compared to the value of love and feelings and emotions, something that his father did not understand. And this eventually brought him to pave his own path and move on. His father was extremely rich, so he was plentiful in this area, and he thought that since he had plenty of money, he could fill a void that he so deeply knew he could never fill. As he grew, his father constantly demonstrated his lack of emotional depth. Eventually, my stepfather had reached his breaking point with his father. His father had been working with him in the law firm for a while now, and finally, my stepfather had departed from the firm because of his father's methods and his lack of empathy. To be a lawyer means to feel responsible for somebody's life. An individual's freedom is more valuable than anything else in the world. My theory is that there was also corruption in his father's methods. If you lack emotional connection to your own children, you're bound to lack empathy for a stranger who you must defend in court, right? His father used Rene's connection to his mother in order to manipulate Rene into staying in the firm. Leaving the firm did not mean leaving his home or his pre-existing assets until his mother approached him with an impossible choice. Even his father knew Rene's talent and his effortless affinity to law. He told his mother to convince Rene to stay. She said that Rene either remain in the firm with his father and work for him, or he leaves the house and never returns again. Elie Wiesel once said, "We must always take sides. Neutrality helps the oppressor, never the victim. Silence encourages the tormentor, never the tormented. Sometimes we must interfere." He decided to speak his mind, and he decided to take his beliefs and carry them out. He, in that moment, did not stay silent and stood up for his beliefs. And it was his beliefs that led him to get so far.
At that time, the relationship with my parents was broke. With my dad, he was one of the most intelligent person that I met in my life. It was really challenge. I really know him, but he didn't know me. I wasn't agree with things that he used to do in his career, also as a personal. I literally become poor. I had my own car, credit cards, money. My father was paying me the school at that point, and then I went to zero, working at the court from 7 a.m. until 1 p.m., going to law school from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m., and sometimes working at night in a theater or in ice cream parlor, or also weekends, doing like landscaping to friends, cleaning their cars, doing whatever to get money, because I need it at that point.
When I asked him during the interview, he had told me that he had faced his father 4 times in court. Now, this statement might seem pretty interesting to you, considering the fact that in the United States, the prosecutor works for the government and the defense lawyer works for the client. However, in Venezuela, the defense lawyer has a client, and then on the other hand, the prosecution attorney has a client as well. So they had faced each other on 4 different occasions, and believe it or not, my stepfather won every single time. It really shows why Rene's father wanted so much for his own son to stay in his law firm. Even if that seemed like enough, my stepfather faced another great challenge, the death of a son. It was a Mother's Day, and Alejandro, Rene's 11-year-old son, had been playing on a terrace with his brother, and they decided to move to a terrace where usually a lot of people hang out. Then they get caught, and this drunk man, he's a police officer, by the way, he starts shooting out in the air, and unfortunately one of the shots hit Alejandro's head, and he died on the spot.
After that, started the case. The officer was getting out. He was kicked out the police. He went to jail a few years, and it's a long story, but that's what happens at that day.
His team, along with himself, had put his son's killer in prison and brought justice. When I asked how he thought of the situation, he responded by saying that,
I think it's more a philosophy of life. For sure, we all gonna die. That's a fact. Someone goes before, others go after, but every one of us gonna die. It's a natural law. And even if sometimes comes faster, and it's not the natural law that your kids die before their parents, I handle as a natural law. It's not, it's not that easy, but it's a natural law. And then I always remember Alejandro by the wood moments that we had a lot. At that point, I had 3 kids, and they deserve to have the same father quality, even they were 3 or 2. And even my 3 kids, and also now Ricardo, are all the same kind of special for me. My kids deserve to have the same happiness and the same quality of father. And then I understand that I never couldn't change my way or my happiness or the way that I like to live because Alejandro dies. Because imagine in the future if one of my kids asked me, hey Dad, what was the difference between Alejandro and me? That after he died, you never smiled again. You never was happy again. No, they had the same right when they were 3 or 2 or 4.
Now, although it may seem weird, because no other human being could imagine having that type of optimism in such a situation. I feel like that's what got him so far. The fact that he thought of things this way, the fact that he accepted the inevitability of death, the fact that he knew that things happen for a reason. And although some people may not be able to accept the inevitable, it's best to. And at the end of the day, it's best to live life knowing that some things are out of your control. Because at the end of the day, that's what makes life exciting. And while he did die prematurely, my stepfather went on to say that he still remembers him by the good moments, and he never forgets how it was before his death. You might be wondering, how did he meet you, Ricardo? And I'm not going to lie to you, I'm going to be completely honest. The man who is my biological father is not fit to be a father. He is not fit to raise a child, and therefore I feel like my father, at the end of the day, is my stepfather. There had been a legal issue going on with my father for a very long time, before my mom had met Renee, and so this issue, my grandfather proposed that the only person that could solve it was the one and only Rene Burros, and that's how my mom met Rene. He says that I remind him a lot of himself when he was younger. A boy with a difficult father, and I'm so happy that he was able to shield me from that experience. The experience that he had to go through, I did not have to go through, because he knew exactly what to do. He knew exactly how he could help me, and I'm so grateful for that. My stepfather may not be the owner of a charity organization, or he might not work at a very large nonprofit organization in order to help a certain cause, but the effects of my stepfather's wisdom are felt every day in my life. They're felt every day in my siblings' lives. They're felt every day in the decisions that I make. My stepfather made me the man who I am today, and so I can owe all of the decisions I make today to him. Now, I'll say this one last time. How much are you willing to sacrifice for your beliefs?